All right, welcome back. We have a new section here, and we're starting off by talking about responsive design. So Bootstrap exists to, well, one of the reasons it exists, and one of the reasons I like to use it, is that it helps you make responsive websites very quickly. The colors, the fonts, the different sort of styles are easy enough to replicate, but making responsive websites can be a huge pain. So for example, look at the docs. We have this sidebar on the left, and as I resize right there, there's a breakpoint where it collapses into this navbar. And this is something that without Bootstrap would take a lot of effort. With Bootstrap, it's extremely simple. So we're not quite at the navbar yet. We're getting there. But first we have to understand, where is this breakpoint? And Bootstrap has some built-in terminology or names for different breakpoints. So you could write your own custom breakpoints whenever you want. You could say, at 1102 pixels wide, do this. At 700 pixels and less, do this. But Bootstrap has some built-in numbers that it works with. And just to show you what I'm talking about, if I go to navbar in the components, we're not there just yet, but you'll see that there are these classes: navbar, expand, small, medium, large, extra large. You'll notice, here we go, in one of the examples, navbar-expand-LG for large. That large represents or is referring to a particular breakpoint, a particular width, a screen size. So that's what I want to talk about in this video. And to do that, if you go to Layout and then Overview, which is the default, scroll down or click Responsive Breakpoints, you'll see this section here. So these breakpoints that are listed are the different categories or classifications of devices or screen sizes in Bootstrap. So the different labels are extra small, which you can see here. Extra small devices are anything less than 576 pixels wide. So like this right here is an extra small device that by the number of pixels. Then there are small devices, which are landscape phones, if you're looking at your phone on the side usually, and that's anywhere between 576 pixels and up. However, there is another screen size, which is medium devices, which is from 768 pixels and up. Then we get to large devices, some desktops, which is at 992 pixels and above. And then we get to extra large devices, 1200 pixels and above. So this on my computer is extra large at the moment. And we'll be working with these. You don't have to memorize these numbers or anything, but just keep them in mind, these different sizes, because we'll be working with certain components, with navbars. We might say something like, make this navbar collapse, and then make it expand once we get to the medium breakpoint or the large breakpoint. And so those terminologies, those names are important. XS for extra small, SM for small, MD for medium, LG for large, and XL for extra large. Now, just to show you what they look like, I have a file that I've created called breakpoints. It's totally empty except for the boilerplate. And I'm going to go up and add a style sheet. So I'm going to do this as a separate style sheet because I've noticed if I try and add comments, if I did a style tag here and then I wanted to add some notes, some comments in there, sometimes it breaks inside of VS Code. It gets confused about languages. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come up here and make a separate style sheet. It's also just a better habit. And I'm going to call this breakpoints.css. Okay. And then, of course, I'll come back over here and link to it. So link tag, and it is breakpoints.css. Okay. And I'll just leave this for now. Why don't I put a little H1 in there that says website, something really boring. And let's also do text center, so it's in the middle. All right, nothing exciting at all. So what I'm going to do now is just copy over these responsive breakpoints. So what I want to show you is the way that Bootstrap works is that it assumes if you add some styles in, everything applies from basically extra small and up. So in general, the pattern is you give some sort of default value that applies from extra small upwards, and then from there, you work your way up. So let me just show you an example. I'm going to give my body a background color of red. And right now it's applying everywhere. But let's say I only want it to apply on a small screen size, on a mobile phone, extra small, which is what we call it in Bootstrap, XS. What I would do is once we hit 576 pixels, And if you're not familiar with breakpoints or with media queries, this might all be new to you. I recommend you spend a little time familiarizing yourself with them, but remember, most of what I'm showing you here is behind the scenes, and this is only if you want to tweak things. But to make a nav bar responsive, you don't have to work with any of this. You just add a class, but we're not there quite yet. All right, so let's say I want to change it to orange once we get to our small size. So that looks like, oh, I can't just say background orange. I need to say body, background orange, excuse me, and I need to add an extra bracket. All right, so now what we've done is at the smallest size, we're red, and then we work up to orange. And now, I could keep going to the next one. I'm just gonna duplicate this to make it easier a couple times. And so the next pixel value is 768. So that's for medium devices, and I'll give that a color of yellow. And then after that, we have 992 for large devices, and I'm gonna give that green. And then finally, we get to 1200 for large devices, and I will make that blue. Okay, and you can see it changed color. So we go from extra small, which is less than 576 pixels, so 575 and below. Then we go to small, which is here, which is between 576 and 767. Once we hit 768, it becomes yellow. That's our medium size, and then we hit large right here, and then finally extra large, and everything after that is considered extra large in Bootstrap. Okay. So that's pretty much all I want to say about it for now, but in the next video, I'm going to show you a class or classes that take advantage of these breakpoints. So you won't have to write any CSS like this, but we'll be able to do things like hide an element after the medium breakpoint or show an element at the large breakpoint, and that's coming up next. But just to wrap all of that up, these are underlying ranges of values that Bootstrap uses, and you do not need to memorize these pixels or anything like that. Oh my gosh, my cat just terrified me. All right, well, I guess I should end there. In the next video, we'll see an actual application for these sizes.